Uh, Arnaud is the group CEO of TONIC International in Dubai, and he's a truly international creative and strategic thinker. Before founding TONIC in 2004, he worked with some of the top agencies in both Northern Europe and in the US. Arnaud's team have helped clients such as Aldi, Burger King, Microsoft, Unilever, Sony, Nando's, for whom they did one of my favorite, most brilliant Ramadan campaigns ever, Médecins Sans Frontières, Tetley Tea, and Fly Dubai, to name but a few. TONIC are experts at helping their clients navigate the complex and sometimes problematic GCC and Levant regions. Arnaud, it's great to have you with us. Really appreciate it. I suspect it's probably as hot there as it is in South Africa. But wonderful to see you. The floor is yours. Please tell us a little about TONIC and the region.
Yeah, so we've stopped talking to people outside the region about the weather about a month ago. It started depressing people. TONIC has been in the region for 20 years. Today, I'll show you some, nothing as really cool as what we've just seen, but really to start to understand the issues you face sometimes when you want to adapt a campaign to a different region. And the conversations we have all the time with our clients. About, I said, 2/3 of our clients are international clients doing business across the region. I'll share a wide range of clients. Some, most of this is traditional advertising because it's easier to explain. Hopefully the videos will work as well as they do from London, but let's try it from our side. Hopefully you can all see my screen.
Yeah, that's coming through.
All right, so so very often we're asked to localize campaigns, so the big question then becomes what is local, especially as you mentioned, we work across the GCC, the Levant, sometimes North Africa, sometimes Africa. So we really do need to cut across a lot of what the local actually means. And that's the conversations we have. So I wanted to start by looking at the things that immediately when you start thinking about the Middle East, the things that you can do and the things that you cannot do in the Middle East. So we think you cannot do every time we speak about the Middle East, obviously with what's happening at the moment. So terrorism, wars, petrol, religion, women veiled, etc. All sorts of questions we can and cannot do. A question that comes very often is, obviously we can't put naked women. I'm French, so half the advertising needs to have naked women, but in a lot of places around the world you can't. So the Middle East is not very different there. And in the end, the conversation I think needs to move really quickly from that. So I've asked an OpenAI to just tell me what is it that we can't do in advertising in the Middle East. So this is what we get. A rather sexy veiled woman with a bottle of beer. Apparently we can't do that in the Middle East. So at least we got that out of our system. What we can do sometimes is just change the language. It's very simple. You take an English ad, a French ad, a Spanish ad, whatever, and you change the language. Easier said than done in a region where we have a lot of different languages spoken. Sometimes we do Malayalam, sometimes we do Urdu. When we do Arabic, which Arabic is it going to be? Egyptian, Lebanese, Khaliji, etc. So lots of different languages. But language is a conversation we have very often. Do we put brown people or do we keep the white people or do we put Asian people? Color of the skin seems to be very important sometimes. I don't think it matters that much, but we've seen that putting local talent in the ads makes them work better. In areas where we can measure engagement, like in social media, for the same piece of copy, when you have local talent, then it works better. What does local mean? I've touched on that, but really, do we put local people? Is it a local setting? Is it a local language, a local dialect? What is the culture that we refer to? You have a Khaliji culture that is very different from a Moroccan culture, for instance. So where do we go? In the end, I think we leverage more human insights, and I think that's what helps us cut across everything that we do. So it's more human insight rather than cultural or local insight, but still keeping in mind what we can do and what we can't do. And I think that's really what I find interesting is understanding enough to know what you can do and where you can push, because really with knowledge we get freedom to do things. So I'll start quite hard, but everything that I'll share with you now has run in media in the Middle East. So maybe not in Saudi, but it has run. So this one, I'm not sure what you guys are reading, but of course, you guessed it, there are 6 fantastic foam burst fragrances. So this is an ad for foam burst by PZ Cussen that run across GCC in magazines mostly. This is quite old already, probably about 15 years old. You know, it cleans everything but your mind. So it really, and there's a whole range of those. So we can't change the way you think, but we can definitely get you notice the ad. This one, still for PZ Cussen, this one from last year, where we can show women in a bathtub. It's completely normal. This one ran on social media for Imperial Leather. This was quite old. This was to launch Wonder Bra in the Middle East at a time when you still had very strange habit of censors that would go through every single magazine and black out with a black magic marker what they thought was inappropriate. It could be Greek sculptures, it can be really strange things at times. Now, obviously, with Wonder Bra, the guy got carried away. There's so much more to cover. But this is an ad that won a lot of international awards, and that did run in the region as well. And it was really interesting to see how we could poke fun of those censors at the time with an ad that we censored ourselves, while actually representing the brand the way it should be. We say also you can't put dogs in advertising. This one was for a scratch card, where suddenly you didn't need to have a scratch card. You could just call a toll-free number to get more mobile data and minutes. So no more scratching with the dog. So obviously we have the dog there. And since we got away with the dog, we decided to also have naked couple as well. So we could do that as well. So we run that in magazines also. So really understanding what you can and cannot do is important, because it allows you to push the boundary. Sometimes you cross the line, but it's not necessarily where you think you would cross the line that gets you in trouble. So this got us very close to the line. This was to show that it does really look very stupid if you're wearing those kind of shoes. Yet a lot of Emiratis were, putting fake wheels on very expensive cars, and it was as stupid as putting clown shoes. And this is the one that really got us in trouble the first time around. So where we played actually with the national emblem of the UAE, which is a falcon. And obviously the car is going so fast because it's been tuned up by quarter mile that everything else seems a little slow. So that we replaced the falcons by chicken. This is the first ad. I'm proud to say that we got banned in the UAE. So sometimes it's not necessarily the dogs or the girls or other things, but it's just a national symbol. This one is an interesting one because this campaign, there were 4 films in this. They played on stereotypes. So sometimes it's fun to look at what people think of you and think of the culture or the things that they attribute to a certain culture and play with that. So that's exactly what that ad did. So sorry, as usual, I completely forgot to add the sound. So I'm going to do that now when I share. Put the sound, put this. Hopefully you can hear it.
Is it playing, Arnaud? Because we're not saying anything.
Sorry, the sound is not playing?
We nothing at all, I'm afraid.
Nothing at all. Okay, so I should have done exactly. I should have sent everything to you guys so that you can play it. So let me try that again. So share. Is that a proper presentation if we don't have a technical difficulty?
Absolutely. Okay.
Wow, the Middle East. That is so cool. Do you guys drive camels to work in the morning? Aren't camels the ones with the humps?
Well, if you can afford them, then yeah. The richer you are, the more humps they get.
Wow. and this genie. Do you have genie?
Okay, so obviously the camel, because every Arab needs to have a camel with them. What I particularly like in this copy is that actually the Arabic that we use is complete gibberish. And this ran in satellite TVs with completely fake Arabic. And our audience thought it was hilarious. I'm not sure if you can still see the screen. Can you still see the screen?
We can see the Audi.
Okay, very good. All right, so this one goes at a different level. So this was a full campaign with a lot of different ads. They all complement each other. They tell the story in a non-linear fashion. It's a bigger story. This is just part of the story where basically the daughter comes back from overseas. She's visiting the family. The dad goes and pick her up. The brothers do other things in the story, but this is that section of the story. It really was meant to bring Audi at a more emotional level for the region. We've been working for Audi for about 12 years now. At the time, we were really trying to bring Audi in a less technique, less cold, if you want, engineering world, and more into a more emotional world. And in the Middle East, family is extremely important. And so we've revolved all that story was all around that family moment and how we bring it together. I'll play this one.
Was it worth it for the view? It all comes and goes.
Sorry.
It all comes and goes.
So this doesn't look like it's very much hard sell and does very much for the cars, but actually it did. It changed everything for YouTube in the region. It allowed YouTube to change all the benchmark they had before, and it allowed Audi to really start changing the conversation about the brand, and they never looked back really. This is to go back earlier to what I said about, sometimes you just need to change the setting and take exactly the same story as what we get from Ingolstadt, from Audi in Germany, from the headquarters, and change the setting, change the models, find good locations that are similar to the ones we were given, but really it's almost a frame by frame reshoot of an existing ad using some of the shots actually from the international copy. I'll show you some of that one.
Yes, they are electric, but there is more to them. Going anywhere, they will take you far. They work while you recharge. How about letting your car do the talking? While you look back into the future thanks to their virtual side mirrors. Their horses perform in silence, and they're designed to share sunrises. Their Quattro lets you trade in gravity for excitement. Now prepare to look twice, if you're quick enough. So yes, they are electric, among other wonderful things.
All right, so that's a copy we did at the beginning of this year. I think it's really boring. We got budget from international to adapt it. This was a mandate. Probably every agency had to do that. So we did this, but on the back of it, what we did is we created a lot of footage around that, because we had amazing locations, we had very good talent, and we had, you know, a lot of production value that we could get out of that. So we ended up doing a lot of different copies using this shot, these shots and this shoot, both static and in films. And we actually, I think, created one of the best films we've done in a few years, because really, I think at the end of the day, what localization needs to start from, it needs to start from understanding the market and how different it is. So talking about electrification and how it charges and the range and all this is boring. And honestly, our audience doesn't care. They can all, you know, Google it if they want to. If they buy an e-tron GT at you know, £100,000 or whatever it is in your country, this is about pleasure. It's about a statement. It's about refinement. It's about a lot of different things that are a lot more emotional than just electric. Electric becomes almost it's a statement because you're getting an electric car, but it doesn't really matter why that you know, or what that electric car does. It's how it makes you feel that I think is more important, and that's what we did for that.
The sensation of sound.
Sound is a vibration that propagates in an acoustic way. Increasing speed. At full throttle. In space, there is no medium, no air, no sound.
The sensation of sound could be the most overwhelming way of perception. Sound can be mellow and fragile, but also massive and striking. It can be deep and thrilling, fill rooms.
An explosion.
It can fill hearts. And it has the power to shape the identity of a car, to make a sound work in every different state. When accelerating or braking, you need the right notes, just like in music. But unlike a song, the sound of a car is continuous. That is why Audi created its own unique sound for the new Audi RS e-tron on GT. Some hear a car. We hear the future.
The future.
And so that, I think, is a much more interesting conversation to have with our audience. And that's where we were. So really, for me, it always starts with really understanding the audience, understanding what we can and cannot do, and you know, keep learning.
Thank you, Arnaud. I think that's a great way to finish. And I think also one of the takeouts from that is what a point I come back to at the beginning, which is actually really understanding at that very, very local level what, as you say, what you can, you can't do, where you can push those boundaries a little bit. Sometimes you get into trouble, sometimes you don't. But I think that's great, lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Really appreciate it. It's great to have all your years of experience.